Hello and welcome back to another Cultist Astronaut update. Today we're going to be taking a look at some updates that I've been working on for the tile editor, mostly around importing, slicing, and configuring the tile editor so that we can use it efficiently. But also the tile map format has gotten revamped as well, which allows us to use multiple tile palettes per tile map. And so I'll dive into that and explain how that works. So first up, a big thing that we've added here is the asset database, which is essentially all of the all of the assets that we can use in our project that we have imported thus far. So for example, we have this crystals PNG, which is used in the Excoriya level. If I click edit, it will open up this pop-up that shows you the two sprites that we're using and their regions. We are exporting this directly out of Unity, and we're only exporting what we need, so some of these things are not regioned quite yet. But this is a great way for us to look at how this texture atlas is sliced. I don't have any tools in here yet to do this type of slicing. The only type of slicing I support so far is cell size, which will cut this up evenly, and I'll show how that works with tile palettes. But yeah, I can click any of these and view what they are, which is very useful for the artist who will be working with these. Yeah, and with that, the reason why we have this is so we can edit our tile sheets. So I do have a couple tile sheets imported. For example, we have tile sheet Excoriya. This is a chunker, so it does take a second to pop up. And you can see we have quite a bit of tiles loaded into this sprite. I didn't add any zooming capabilities to this window. I do have zooming in the tile editor, but yeah, basically what we did was we set this resolution to 256. It shows you a grid of how it's going to slice, and then when you click apply, it actually goes through and chops this up. And this is the result. So it does ignore spots that have no pixel. So it tries to be as efficient as possible. And we do have a couple other sheets as well. This one's hard to see. I need to add like the blue background to this, but these are the shadows that we use. And then I have my basic template as well. And these are all sliced 256 by 256 for each individual tile. Now before this, we were using, I think like 500 or so PNGs, one for each tile. But now we've gotten this reduced down to just 3 textures, which is amazing. And if I open this up, you'll see it is a 8192 by 8192, which allows us to insert 32 by 32 pixel tiles into this map. And we'll basically create one for each major level in the game. We already have one for Sludgehaven. It just needs to be imported into this folder and into the project. So how do I import a new tile sheet? Well, first let's just create one real quick so we have an example. Let's set this to a convenient size. So I want to do 512 by 512, which means I'll be doing 2 by 2. And then just to keep this simple, I'm going to just use gray. I don't really care if this is accurate because I'm just testing it. But let's pretend that these are perfectly even squares. And then let's save this as tile sheet test. And we're going to put that in that folder. We're going to export that as PNG because that's what our engine supports currently. And now that that's been saved, we can do import asset. We can select the tile sheet that we want. We can click open. This will open up the texture editor where I can then type in the slices I want. And you can see I was I was off by a couple pixels, but oh well. We can click apply, and then you'll see it slices it and it shows us that with the red lines. So there's our new tiles. And that's basically how we import new assets. Let's load Excoria, and let's take a look at some of the changes we've made to the tile editor. So like I mentioned, this is all using a new tile format, so there's been a lot of work really optimizing this. But essentially every tile that you see here has a texture ID and a region ID. And basically what that means is that we have our texture, which is, for example, test, and then region would tell us which slice we're using. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. In fact, if we go to fork, and we take a look here at this asset database, you'll see when I imported the new asset, it created an entry, and it created 4 regions for us. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this basically allows us to figure out what the UVs are when we go to render this tile, which is very important. And so when you see these red boxes, it's literally coming from that asset file. And every single tile you see here has an index, and it's actually using this, this sheet here. However, each tile map can have up to 4 different textures. So if you wanted to, you could have basic template, Excoria, shadows, and test all in the same tile map. Now let's take a look at the landing dock room, which is what we see here. Just like before, we still have the edit buttons for each tile map. And in this scene, we have the ground, we have background, and we have background objects. And you can see that this one doesn't seem to have much. You can see what is controlling which. Some rooms are more complicated than others, but we'll use this as our example. So we're going to click Edit on the ground, and this opens up our grid for our room, but also it opens up the tile editor. Now the tile editor has gotten some work done up here. I can actually add a new palette, which I'll show in a second. We have a drop down that allows us to pick between different palettes. So if I wanted to, I can go to the Excoria tile map or the shadows tile map. There's that nice blue background that we need to add to the other view. And I'm pretty sure these were in the last video, but if I want to, I can click brush and I can paint in some of these shadows. I can also erase. This has gotten a revamp as well. This, I don't remember if I showed this in the last video, but basically I can hold the mouse down and paint smoothly, and I can hold down the right mouse button to erase. It's very convenient, a lot less tedious than the Unity tile editor where you have to like click the eraser tool. Yeah, it shows you the current room and the tile map. I believe that's all the same. And if I want to, I can actually change the tint. So right now we have it set to white, but if I want to, I can make this red. This is really useful for our grayscale tiles. So not really a good example here, but it is there if we need to use it. Some of these tiles, like these right here, for example, use a red tint because they're actually grayscale. Another cool thing we have here that we've added is, since this is such a big tile sheet, I actually added the ability to pan. So if you hold down the middle mouse button, you can actually pan through this, select a different tile, and then paint it in. And that is working correctly. So everything is good there. So yeah, the panning, you can scroll through it. That is all been revamped. Now, I did just import this tile sheet test, right? We have this new tile sheet. And if I want to, I can click New Palette, and it will open up this little browser where it tells me to select a texture. It actually uses the same search bar right now. I might change that, but it's actually kind of convenient because typically I'm working with the same thing, so I kind of want it to remember that. And you'll see tile sheet test is here. Now, this doesn't prevent you from adding the same one twice, so there's some work to be done there, but I'm going to add this new one. One thing that would be nice is if it switched to it automatically, but if we go here, you'll see that it's part of the list. And now I can click that and I can select one of these tiles. So let's select this and start painting it in. So you can see that is working exactly how it should, which is very, very useful. And then again, this is where the tint can come into play because, well, it happens to be grayscale. So we don't have any weird like tinting artifacts there. My favorite tool by far is the rectangle. This is just so powerful. If I want to, I can actually erase the entire room. But that's not good because I don't have undo redo yet. So, but thankfully none of this is being saved to the tile map. So if I close this world and reopen it, which I can show that right now, just reopen the world, you'll see it resets it back. Yeah, so that is all the new updates for Cultist Astronaut. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And definitely in the next video, I'll be showing off some of the code as well. So let me know what type of stuff you would like to see there when we do the code review. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.